And even if you don't, you know what it's like to be a child. You know how quickly your childhood passes. You get to be a kid for such a short amount of time, if you even make it out of your childhood. Some kids die at the age of 6. I'm sorry, my voice is cracking, but I cannot project my voice right now. Some kids don't even make it to their teenage years. Life is so precious. You're here today and gone tomorrow. And if you're lucky, some people will remember you. And for him to point the gun at my little brother's face, to say that he will kill us before he kills my mother just to prove a point, it's like, wow. I thought that what my foster brother did to me was terrible. I thought that my foster mother overlooking that was terrible. I thought being taken from my foster home at night, being put on a plane, being brought up here for some family reunion was terrible. But it wasn't until this day, when I had the fear and the realization that I could die right now, that I realized I ain't even seen terrible yet.
Gonna give you this mic back, but what I'ma say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.
In these places where their lives are taken from them, either because they're dependent on the government 100% for food to provide for their family, for resources, etc., or because their children are locked in the system, or the issues vary. But when I don't hear Black people talking about those issues as much. I never heard that kind of stuff growing up, of course. And I did live with a Caribbean American family for a good chunk of my upbringing. My biological family. So, of course, we didn't talk about the issues that the Black American community faces. Which is stupid, because my brother found himself right in the middle of it, because they don't see that you're Caribbean when they're looking at you. They just see your black skin. Duh. Like, I understand that now, but then we didn't understand or know. Like, I didn't have the knowledge. Nobody had the knowledge that is being spun so much now, because everybody wants to seem woke. But, when people say things like, oh, Black lives don't matter to Black people, it pains me, because I want to be like, no, that's not true right away. But that's true for some people. Think of the guys who threw the girl in the dumpster, that pobrecita. They threw her into the dumpster, and then the night, like a few days later, after being blasted on the internet, one of the guys literally was on his phone talking about some F a Black life. I'll take a Black life. Black lives don't matter. So it's like, who are you in the street for, rallying for, screaming for, making blanket statements like, Black lives matter, when it's like, there are Black people who don't even think that you matter, honey. There are Black boys who don't even think that you matter, and they told you that when you were growing up. They showed you that when they violated your rights and violated your privacy. And that's why you gotta pick and choose what you're going to put your attention towards, because some people are not deserving of your support. And that's, again, there are trash people in all communities. And no, not everybody knows exactly where the trash is buried. Not everybody knows where it lies. But when I see stuff like that, like a group of Black men who are willingly going to take a girl and throw her into the dumpster, all for social media, all for clicks and giggles, for shits and giggles, I get a bad taste in my mouth, and that's the least, okay, of what really happens. Like, it sickens me. It infuriates me. There are so many holes in the Black community. in the structure of this said community. And I think that as a collective, Black American people need to get that stuff sorted out. Because you can scream at other people all day long and scream at the institutions and the systems that are in place right now and talk about how they must be abolished and they must be dismantled. But when they are dismantled, what are you going to do? Because what were you doing before they were dismantled is the bigger question. If you didn't have a plan before everything was abolished, what is your plan now? What is the idea now? How do we handle the Black male and female, the Black men and women who are predators in the community, who are toxins in the community? Where are the reparations at? Because there was a study just a few years ago or earlier this year. I think one was done by Georgetown, another was done by another place. I can't think of it right now. But if I find the articles, I'll put them below. It was quantified how much descendants of African slaves who were brought to this country in particular are owed for what they built in this country, and that number is 14 trillion. I have not seen 14 trillion in restitution trending at all. I've not seen 14 million trend. I've seen talk and chatter in articles about reparations, but on a national scale, I don't see that happening amongst Black American people. And this is the time to demand that shit. I'm Caribbean American. My parents are immigrants here, so I don't get reparations. But you, as a Black American person, you do get reparations. If I were you, like for real, if I were you, I would be demanding those reparations right now. I would be writing to the congressman. I would be emailing everybody in every department that there is in my state, whether it be the Department of Education, whether it be the Department of Insurance, goddammit. I would be emailing everybody like, where are my reparations, bro? But that's just me. If there is any time to demand what you are owed, what your heart has desired, this is the time. Shit, if you're trying to buy a house, demand that the FHA waive your loan because your ancestors built enough houses to go around for everybody. I mean, come on now. If you know what you are owed, if you know your value, if you know where you come from, if you know what the people before you have sacrificed, take that and use it to your advantage. This is the time. And this is the time to get your communities in order. That goes for every community, obviously. I mean, Caribbean American families, there's so much to say even with that. But specifically when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, it's not specifically centered around Black Caribbean American people. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's exclusive, but in the context of Black lives in America, like that, when people are talking about Black Lives Matter, I think, they're using that in reference to the injustices that Black American people face, not necessarily, on a global scale, although, of course, it is available. The movement is in recognition of everybody. I'll just say that, or I would like to believe that. But my experience, I'll end with this, my experience with I don't know how to politely talk about what I experienced, and I guess there's no point in trying to be polite. I just don't want to come from an angry place. I just don't want to come from the place of I don't want to be too critical, because I understand, especially now that I'm older, I understand that there are so many levels to it. But I was held at gunpoint when I was about 10 to 11 years old, and my baby brother was like 3 or 4 years old. And okay, let me do the numbers real quick. So I have 3 younger siblings who were in the house at that time. And then my 2 older sisters and my oldest brother was in the home. And then my mom was there as well. The only people who weren't there was my biological father and my second oldest brother. So it's like late at night. I don't even know if it's like 9 something or whatever, or if it's later than that. But it's like, it's dark outside and everybody's sort of like winding down, I think getting ready for bed or something like that. And out of nowhere, so I'm leaving my mother's room. We're in an apartment, and I'm going across the hall. I cross the hall, and while I'm crossing the hall, a door just flings open. Out of the corner of my eye, I'm walking, like walking, and the door flings open. I just hear a loud boom. I am not really reactionary in a physical sense. If something happens, I have an internalized reaction. I don't show, I don't jump, I don't scream. But on the inside, all my muscles tense up. So I didn't even I don't want to say I didn't flinch, but I just kept walking into the room, because I'm like, my sisters are right here, my siblings are right here. I don't know what the hell that was, but we all just heard that. So we start to come out. I hear my mom say something, and like three men, black men, unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate either way, but it's really sad when like your own people, so to speak, do this type of shit. So three black men storm into the apartment, and they all have guns. And my mom, my three younger siblings, who are like maybe like 4, 6, 8, like all three of them, very young, all under the ages of 10. Myself, who's like 10, 11, and then my sibling, like everybody is in this house, bro. Like they could have killed all of us, and we are the only branch of my family that is in the Americas, not the Americas, or in the United States, in the States, that I know of. Like the rest of my family, they are on the islands. So like they really could have killed all of us, and nobody would live to know to tell what happened, and like nobody would even know. It's so crazy to think about this experience even now. But so yeah, they have guns. They're pointing the guns. The two guys in the back of like the main guy go into the rooms as if they already knew what was up. They go into the rooms. The main guy is pointing the gun at us, and he's like screaming like, "Don't move. Where the f is my at? Like, where is my And my mom is like I'm like my mom speaks broken English, so my mom is like, we don't know, like I don't know what you're talking about. Like, please, sir, I have my kids, please. I don't know what you're talking about." Oh my God, I'm trying so hard not to cry, but this shit is so crazy, you know? It's so crazy. So my mom is like, I don't know. And he doesn't know that we're Caribbean. He doesn't know that she's not trying to be funny. She really doesn't understand what he's saying. Maybe I should just take a moment. I'm not trying to let this shit get to me right now, but as Ian Levanson likes to say, let your heart break for that for a moment. Maybe that's what I just need to do. Let my heart break for a moment. This shit is so fucked up, you know? This shit had me so hot, but I wasn't the one with the gun, so I couldn't really express that at the time, you know? Okay, I'm back. So he didn't seem to understand, the gunman didn't seem to understand that my mom did not speak English well. She didn't understand the syntax, the verbiage, whatever. He's, where my shit at, bitch? Like, talking reckless as hell. And nobody knows what he's talking about, because he just storms in, and you have a gun at somebody's face. Like, you can't really try to have a conversation with someone with a gun in their face. Not to mention, he puts the gun to my little brother, who's 3, 4 years old, and he starts screaming, "Do you want to die?" He starts asking me, do I want to die? Asking my mom, he's like, "I will shoot your kids in front of you, bitch. Where's my fucking shit? Where's my stuff? I will shoot your kids." And he's just waving, reckless, bro. And I don't know if this shit is fake. I don't know if it's loaded. I don't know. But he got that finger by that trigger and he's just waving the shit. And it's unbelievable to me. It is unbelievable to me how someone could do something like that and feel nothing. I'm like, you are old enough to, and you probably do have like two daughters, maybe a son, something like that, like scattered somewhere. And even if you don't, you know what it's like to be a child. You know how quickly your childhood passes. You get to be a kid for such a short amount of time, if you even make it out of your childhood. Some kids die at the age of 6. I'm sorry, my voice is cracking, but I cannot project my voice right now. Some kids don't even make it to their teenage years. Life is so precious. You're here today and gone tomorrow. And if you're lucky, some people will remember you. And for him to point the gun at my little brother's face, to say that he will kill us before he kills my mother just to prove a point, it's like, wow. I thought that what my foster brother did to me was terrible. I thought that my foster mother overlooking that was terrible. I thought being taken from my foster home at night, being put on a plane, being brought up here for some family reunion was terrible. But it wasn't until this day, when I had the fear and the realization that I could die right now, that I realized I ain't even seen terrible yet. I had not even kissed terrible yet. And you want to know what this man broke into our home and threatened me, threatened my siblings, threatened my mother, who I didn't even know how to have compassion for because of how difficult my childhood was and my relationship was with her. And yeah, my heart broke for her in that moment because she really couldn't express herself. And it's like I knew she was like, I don't want to say helpless, but I knew that my mom could not do much on her own. But in this moment where she has a language barrier and about 7 kids in the house with her to protect while these 3 gunmen are in the house, oh my God, I felt so bad for her. I felt bad for every time I judged her. I felt bad for how critical I was of her. And I'm not gonna lie, things did not get better with our relationship. So, I continued to be abused. I continued to, things were still like really bad with her after the fact. But in that moment, when I'm looking around at my biological family members, like, wow, we might all die right now. And it was all because this man's fragile ego and him wanting an object that he said someone stole from him. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about whatever his thing was with my relative that he came in the house looking for, because I don't know anything about that relationship. That's the thing, like the one person he was looking for wasn't in the house. So that gunman could have really killed all of us looking for one person, and it was all for like something that we had nothing to do with. And this man, it's so sickening to me. I don't know how somebody could do something like that. It was explained to me later on, and through this man's cussing at us, and during the whole like conversation with the guns at our face, that my relative has something of his. So he stormed into our apartment for that object. I don't know why he knew where we lived. I don't know why that information was given to him. I don't know the kind of people that my relative um, put himself around. I assume it was related to some type of organization, some type of gang, some type of something. I don't want to think that, but I don't know, because we were really not like a part of that kind of stuff. But I know that he took to the streets when he started to feel neglected at home, and I think he befriended some type of people. And when those type of people felt cross or suspected him of something, those people came into our home, and we were the collateral damage, or what they wanted to be collateral damage. And it really does irritate me how indisposable, or no, not indisposable, how disposable we are. It is disgusting to me how you can look at a human being who looks just like you, who's living in the same community as you, in the not so nice apartments, while the white people, no offense, no shade, no disrespect, but while the white people occupy the homes along the river, along the lake, and in the mansions that your ancestors built long ago. Like, we are marginalized together, bro. So you coming over to me when I have the short end of the stick and trying to take from us, trying to prove a point, it does nothing to the bigger picture. You're still on the bottom. I'm still right here next to you. Pendejo. It's like, think about that. It was so infuriating to me, and I was so angry at my brother. Oh my God, I was so angry. Like, how could you? How could you bring those kind of people around us? I was so mad because I didn't understand how it didn't occur to him to protect us, or to even protect himself. Our childhood was so hard, like most people's, and we didn't have each other because we were all separated at a young age and then taken from our foster homes and brought back at different times. We didn't really know each other like that. And so when things got difficult, I understand that everybody took to their own thing. Everybody had their own way of coping, I guess. But even I knew not to go to the streets, not to turn to certain types of people or certain activities just for the rush, just for the thrill, just because of whatever. Like acting out, knowing that we don't have the money for hospital bills. We don't have the money to relocate. We don't have, like, come on now. I think that part of the problem is that in Black communities, I can't speak, I'm not white, I didn't grow up like a white person, so I can't speak on that, but I live with two Black families, and one was Black Caribbean, one was African American, and what I can say is that the girls have such a burden. They have to think about the family, think about the I can't even fucking speak right now, bro. I'm so heated. The girls have to bear so much. Like I said, even I knew at a young age, don't go hanging around certain people. You go to school, you come right back because of this, and this, all this fear, all this stuff that we don't have, all these reminders of how I can't go to this, I can't go this place because we don't have, while the boys were just allowed to be so reckless. And it cost us so much. And as a child, I didn't know how not to be angry at my brother. I just knew that I didn't trust him. I just knew that I almost lost my life, and that was on him. And I don't know. I think that the trauma that left me with, the hypervigilance that I experience even to this day, is something I can't put on him because it will not help me. But it is something that I have been forced to live with and just try to manage, like a lot of our anxieties and insecurities. And it's just, really unfortunate. But I guess you live and you learn, right? All things are lessons that God will have you learn, right? I guess that was just one damn lesson I had to learn. I still don't know why. But I think some Black lives don't matter to Black people. Those are the people you need to watch out for. You can scream all day at white people and white supremacy and injustices caused by white people, but I don't think there's any worse snake than the kind in your fucking backyard. And that's coming from someone who's been stabbed in the back and betrayed by people in my backyard. So I think it's a good time to clean up your space, get your communities in order. The people who don't belong there and don't exist there, get them out. I'm not talking about promoting violence or anything like that, but those are the people I will not rally for, I will not stand for, I will not claim. Those are agents of chaos. My phone's blowing up. I have to call this person back. So on that note, I would say this is a really long video. And I hope that you took away something, whether it be perspective, whether it be insight. I don't know. I hope you took away something. But yeah, on that note, I would say tata mi amores. Take care.
Gonna give you this mic back, but what I'ma say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.